Hi. Hi. Hi, Netra. How are you guys doing? How's your quarantine going on? Can you hear me properly? Is everything okay today? Hi, Zoha. Hey, Sashwata. Hi. Hi, Ma. Perfect. Okay, so Miss Anita will be joining us in a minute, and she's going to give us a few tips to maintain our mental health, because there's a disruption in routine life and it's not easy for everyone to adapt to it. So I'm very excited about this session. So let's see. I'm good, Zuha. How are you? Hi, Kirti. Hi, Ramesh. Okay, let me just try adding her. Hi, Anita.
Hi everyone.
Hi, how
Hi,
are
hi.
you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, all good.
Okay.
How's everything at home, work? All good?
Um, yeah, things. Even I'm trying to adapt to this new routine of having online sessions and moving from face-to-face counseling sessions to even my clients adapting to this. So it's going well actually.
Good. So, can you just introduce yourself to all our followers and work you do so they'll have
Okay.
an, yeah.
Okay, so my name is Anita. I'm a counseling psychologist by profession. I run my private practice called the Mind Body Foundation. It's located at Thenampet, Chennai, and I also write posts to spread awareness about mental health and to break the stigma associated with it. And today I've joined you guys to share some tips on how we can adapt to all these uncertainties that has come our way because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And that's why I'm here.
Great. So, and if you guys have any questions, you can just post it down and she'll be answering it through the session. All right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we can start.
Okay, so do you have any questions for me, or would you like me to just start off with some
So,
tips?
you can just start and probably I can ask you if I have any questions in between. Yeah.
Okay. So, some of the common themes because of all this change is that there is a lot of uncertainty in terms of our daily routine. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, when I talk about daily routine, I mean that we used to wake up and we used to go to a particular place to carry out our work. And now that we have to carry that work from this same environment that we spend most of our time in, that itself is a lot of uncertainty. So having to do work from home, which is the case for most of us. And what happens here is there are a lot of boundaries that can be blurred. So you have to make space in your own house to start working so that there is an identity that you have begun work, and also you are sending a signal to your brain that this is a new place where you have to carry out this work and also end it at a particular time. So with the disruption in routine, how do you replicate it is what I'm trying to say. Even in this working from home, you can create a routine, and that routine involves having a approximate wake up time, and then starting your work at a particular time every day. And just because you're at home, not trying to sleep in between, and then you can finish your work later during the day, but continuing to work, although it is difficult, and finishing your work at around 7:30, depending on how much you have to do, and then having a closure to it. When I say closure, it means like following it up with, watching a TV series, which would indicate that, okay, I'm done with work and I'm going to relax. Because there is so much uncertainty. Uncertainty equates to stress. So we don't want to cause more stress to our system and like create chaos internally. So this is one point that I would like to share. And what do you think about that? How do you work from home, or what's happening on your side?
So I'm under complete isolation because I traveled to Singapore last week, and so I have pretty much nothing to do. I'm just sitting at home watching Netflix, torturing my friends, video calling them.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are a few people who DM me saying that it's very hard for them to adapt to this.
Right.
And I had one DM from a male saying that, he's actually working from home, but his family, his child and wife wants him to sit and spend time with them, but they don't get the point of work from home. And
Right.
so there's a dispute between them because of this. So, a lot of different cases where family needs to understand what's going on, and that particular person has to understand that, this is what is expected out of the family. And apart from that, even for old age people, when everyone is all of a sudden at home, it's really hard for them to adapt, and staying together with, being civil with each other has become a biggest challenge that they go through now. So just to calm themselves and not feeling overwhelmed with, expecting so much from others. So I just want to know, what are the things that we can do to just calm ourselves and, know that this is just going to be for a short while.
Okay. So at an emotional level, what are some of the steps that we can take to maintain a sense of stability, right? One thing to do is to be very aware that to consciously remind yourself that all of us are going through uncertainty, and that means there's going to be anxiety that we're feeling, and it is okay to feel this way. So acknowledging that it is okay to feel this way, and that your same experience is what the person who you are interacting with is also going through, and whatever interaction is happening now in relationships might not be the true representation of the relationship. But giving both the parties in the relationship the benefit of the doubt. Okay, my wife and child want me to hang out because they are feeling anxious, and they would feel more protected if I'm interacting with them. Okay, so just openly admitting that this is happening to me and that it is a very human experience. Not trying to push these emotions away. Identifying, there are 3 steps in this process. One is to actually identify the emotion. What am I feeling at this point? So how do you identify that is by noticing a physical sensation in yourself, right? Okay. So if a person is feeling anxious, they could have rapid breathing, or they could have sweaty palms, or they could get angry and lash out. So in these manners, they can notice that there is an emotion that they're going through, and naming that emotion as to, okay, anxiety, fear, anger, whatever it is. And then understanding that there is no need to push it away, that this is normal and it is okay for me to feel this way. Okay. And if you're unable to do this, when you're interacting with a person, you take time out for 5 minutes to calm down. So this is to be aware of your internal experience, because awareness, if you have more awareness, you can start taking control of it. Okay. So identify the feeling, name the feeling, and validate it. It's very human of you to feel it, not push it away. These are the 4 steps that you can take.
So there's a question asking, how do we cope with the financial uncertainties?
Okay, so financial uncertainties is something that we all will be encountered with as a whole, because the entire world is going through this. And these are pockets in our life that we can't have real control of. So the first step to take care of this is by identifying what are the things in your life you can actually take control of. Okay, so I can probably control my sleeping time, my waking up time, the time at which I'm going to eat my meals, and how much I'm going to spend time with my family. This is, in reality, today, the extent of control I have in my life is very limited. So why do I need to focus on areas that I actually can have control of? Is that it would help the mind from going into a cycle of worry and negative thinking. So by preventing the mind from going into a cycle of worry and negative thinking, we're building more resilience at this point. And we need to build resilience at this point in order to tackle the future challenges that we are faced with. So I can't predict what the financial uncertainty is going to be, but by taking care of yourself in this manner, by identifying areas of control in your life at this point, and intentionally shifting your focus towards that, would help you cope with the difficulties that comes as a ripple effect of this pandemic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's another question from Mind Voyage Official.
Okay.
So what if only one family member is getting panicky and this behavior, not really COVID anxiety, makes the other family members mad? So what to do with that person if it gets a lot on a daily basis? So
Okay.
just one person panicking a lot and rest of the family, staying calm.
Okay. So there are a couple of things that you can do in this scenario. Understand if you have the energy for it, because we all are having a collective experience of feeling anxious and then worrying about it, right? You might not really have the energy to do this. So identify if you have the energy to do this in the first place, and probably sit with that family member of yours and hear their worries, or hear what is it that they're panicking about, and just be that listening ear for them to get whatever is consuming their mind out. And then and then ask them, like, how can I support you at this point, right? You're feeling panicked. What do you think will help you, right? Do you think you getting your private space in the house would help you? Because if somebody is going out and getting groceries, you might still be sitting at home, and it might be accelerating your panic. So whatever is possible in reality, and by asking them what is it that they need, and by doing this, you can be available for them to calm their panic. And by mentally differentiating that I can't have control over how the other person is feeling at this point. Okay, by differentiating that their anxiety and their panic is because of the level at which they are worrying. Okay, so having that mental boundary can help you be more available for them in the relationship. So you don't get stuck into that loop. So these are the two things that you can put to use.
Okay, there's another question from Aruna Raki.
Okay.
How do you handle the feeling of being physically stuck without much of movement?
Okay, so this is a real problem, right? Because we are confined within the area of our house. In order to get your physical movement, setting what space you have within the house, and making sure if the movement is something that's been a part of your everyday life. Okay, so there are these home workouts that you can try to put to use. So you identify the time of the day where you're feeling quite energetic, and you incorporate movement actively. So you find there are many people, many apps and platforms that's offering like home workout. And so that way you get movement. And the other way is, so when you're like making calls to your family and finding out, hey, what's happening? How are things? So you can pace around a little bit, and you can do little things like, I don't know, jumping jacks or something, so that you are able to calm your body, because the stress is felt a lot in the body, and movement is something that can help ease you out.
So how important is that physical activity for your mental well-being during this time?
It is quite important because when we are stuck on a loop in our mind, when we're stuck on the loop of overthinking, it can be quite difficult to stop those thoughts by thinking, by intentionally channeling our thoughts in a different fashion. So what we do is we will shift the focus to the body. We'll play some music and we'll dance. Okay, or you do grounding exercises, like you do mindful breathing, and you can probably clean the house, which is also giving movement and activity for the body. So by shifting focus from the mind to the body, it helps us shut down that loop of overthinking. That is psychological stress. So it is very important to have at least 20 minutes of movement on a daily basis, because we are when you're sitting and doing work from home, it's quite sedentary. And in order to break that loop, intentionally, like engaging in whatever you can at home. Yeah.
So 20 minutes of your daily routine is must for your physical workout at this time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And you can try to do one thing or the other every single day, depending on how you feel about it. Yeah.
Okay. So there's another question asking, is it okay to sleep a lot more than usual because of the free time?
Yeah. So as long as the behaviors that you're engaging in right now is not harmful for you, it's not, I'm sleeping too much because of which I'm not able to finish my work from home, and that's ending up in trouble for me. So unless and until this is happening, it's okay if you're sleeping right now, because most people are in their survival mode at this point. It's not important for you to actively do something about it, make the best of these 21 days and build a habit, or like ultimately having to do something productive about it. If sleeping is your way of coping and it's not leading to any problems in your life, then that's absolutely fine. But being mindful can really help, so that even when this period is over, you don't engage in that routine. I think these are key points that you need to identify if you're oversleeping.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, this over talk about corona wherever you turn is making me a bit, anxious and overwhelmed all the time. So
Right.
I try my best to not. I stopped watching news and I don't read any forward messages or any videos that says it's about corona. But still, whenever I just call my friends to just check on them or my family, the first thing they say is, and even because I'm on isolation, somewhere or
Right.
the other, there's conversation about this. And it's just making me overwhelmed and a bit irritated beyond the point when they talk about it. But I just keep quiet because I can't just, tell them that this is irritating me. So is there anything, any technique that I can do to just calm myself when someone's talking about this? To
So,
consciously like ignore it or something like that, because if I go tell someone don't talk about it, they feel that you have to know information and it's necessary for you. You cannot just like that ignore. So I just want to know if there's something that I can do.
okay. Maybe to the people who you can say that this is anxiety inducing for me because I am also isolated from my family at this point. Could be one step. And the other one is drawing that mental boundary. Maybe you're the source where they are taking out their anxiety on for them to self-soothe. Okay, I'm passing on information. I'm making the other person feel empowered. And, so I'm doing something productive here. I'm creating certainty for my friend. I'm taking care of them when I'm away from them. So this could be the feeling that they get because of sharing information with you. So understanding why is it that they're sharing information with me beyond just the information, the layer to what is it that they're communicating in this process. They're communicating their care with me. I'm being the source of where they can share their anxieties and they can get it off. So if this is something that happens a lot over call, then you don't call them. You limit the amount of calls that you make. And probably on text, they don't talk a lot about corona, then you continue text. So finding alternatives to that. Yeah.
Okay. That's a very good question. So, what about pregnant women? They must
Right.
be going through a lot of panic, especially in their last month of pregnancy. Though this is happening to someone very close to me as well. So she's about to deliver in another 2 or 3 weeks, and she's just
Okay.
really anxious about things happening around,
Mm, mm,
and just worried to go to hospital to do a checkup and just go out itself.
mm, 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 mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in order to work with the current reality of the fear of being contaminated by the virus on a hospital visit or any healthcare center, she can take the online consultations until the point that she needs to be admitted to the hospital, and discussing with the gynecologist who she has been going in for her regular checkup. What are the options available for me? What do you think is the safe space? Which are some of the hospitals that do not have exposure to people with coronavirus? So getting information from the healthcare professional who you are interacting with, and not consuming information about this on the internet, because there could be plenty. Okay. And I read about pregnant women being infected with COVID-19. And the information published by Harvard says that the virus does not penetrate the amniotic fluid. And even if the mother gets infected by the virus, she can breastfeed the child because it does not pass through breastfeeding. And so the child is protected. But there are measures that the mother should take in order to keep herself safe at this point. And finding her people who can support her at this point could be very, very useful. And just validating that her panic is real, and finding those people who can give her that comfort. Yeah.
So there's another question. I'm mom of two, already stressed out with all the work I have. Additional work with cleaning and cooking gets me more stressed. Can you give us some tips to tackle it?
I'm sorry, is this person feeling a lot, like they have a lot on their plate?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that
because
she's
now,
also...
I think in her apartment or something, they don't allow maids to come anymore.
Right.
So
Okay.
she's my cousin. So she has less than 6-month-old baby now, and also a toddler. So she's doing cooking, cleaning, as well as taking care of the kids. So she just needs some tip to tackle all this. It's making her feel overwhelmed and stressed.
Okay. So if she has people in her house with whom she can split the responsibilities, that's something that it's very difficult if she's not done it until this point. It's not going to come overnight. But just acknowledging that putting herself in this cycle is consuming a lot of her, and is not able to keep her on the loop of being functional. So telling that to herself and taking that stand for her, and then seeking and then looking out for people who can actually offer support, who are in that environment. If she has other family members who can split the responsibilities with her, then maybe identifying which role can they take up and how they can, take care of, take some burden off of her. And also limiting the areas that she does not need to do. Earlier, maybe when she had the help coming in, she would have been doing more, and she's continuing to keep the same lifestyle going at this point. I'm just talking from a place of assumption. So identifying what are the areas that she can reduce her work in, and maybe capitalizing on this opportunity to also say no to things that she's unable to do, right? Because this is the reality for the next 20 days at least. And if she's on this loop, she'll not be able to take care of her child effectively. So she needs to start taking that stand for herself. Yeah.
So there's the next question. Ma'am, can you please give us some suggestions to youngsters to develop good mental health in this condition? Yeah, so I see a lot of people constantly on, video games now, including myself.
Right. Okay.
So I'm always playing Psych or Ludo King or something or the other with my friends across.
Okay.
And I'm not a person who's always, I don't play much of video games at all. And it's not making me comfortable, I know. It's somewhere making me uncomfortable, but I'm just doing it because I have nothing else to do. So is there something that youngsters can do?
Okay. Broadly, in terms of behaviors that we engage in at this point, right? Somebody mentioned about oversleeping, and you're mentioning that you're playing more of video games. So there is an emotion that we're feeling, and by engaging in these behaviors, we are removing that emotion that we're feeling. So if you're playing video games, or if you're doing excess of some activity, it could be overeating or undereating, which naturally happens when there is stress in the environment. Okay. So by noticing these changes, oversleeping, undersleeping, not having our emotions in control, or overworking at this time, okay? So by observing what emotion is this behavior making me feel, and how else can I take care of this emotion that I'm feeling? Because you're feeling anxious, there could be a huge need to be productive at this point, okay? Because we all live in a very capitalistic society, and just all of a sudden, all the slowness has been, enforced on us, and we feel a lot restricted. So there's a lot of energy which is accelerating the anxiety, and we're channeling it in the form of playing a lot of video games. So by consciously observing this, what emotion am I trying to escape by engaging in gaming and other habits, and following the technique that I said earlier, that it's okay to feel this emotion, sitting with it. And I find that this video gaming is not helping me, and I want to change it over a period of time. It will not happen overnight. It is a process, and just this tuning in and finding out what emotion am I escaping is a lot of awareness to get at this point. Yeah. And what can youngsters generally do to take care of their mental health? There are a bunch of things. One is sleeping around the same time and waking up around the same time is very, very helpful, because any change that you're causing more than what it is right now can be an add-on stress to your body. So these are anchors that you fall upon. Okay, you're creating anchors of routine that would help you calm your anxiety. So sleeping, waking up, and eating times. Okay, and the other thing is getting some movement. It could be dance, it could be cleaning the house, or any other form of body weight workout that you do at home. And then probably creating a new habit if you have the optimism and the energy for it, and limiting your consumption of social media, because there's a lot of misinformation that could damper your mental health at this point. So limiting the hours you spend on consuming news. Yeah, so these are some of the key points that I was able to come out with right now.
There's a question, what can parents do to keep kids engaged? So I'm actually doing a separate session for parents itself to answer this question. So I will let you guys know probably by today or tomorrow when that session is happening. So there's another question from Mind Voice Official that we are doing so many things right now because we have time. Would we continue doing these self-care habits later or go back to normal hectic life? Suggest how we can still stick to this routine.
Okay. So it is impossible to predict if we are going to continue doing all these things that we were able to do at this point. Okay, and even thinking if I'm going to continue all this later on, if it's drawing a boundary, if it's not helping you engage in those self-care activities at this point, then you should not be having these thoughts. It's basically overthinking that about what I'm doing right now, will I be able to do more of it? Okay, it's manifesting in a different form. Okay, and by exploring your tendency to want to hold on to it even afterwards. Okay, maybe you're doing too much self-care right now and you won't have this time later on. So how can you still continue practicing it in bits? How can you realistically apply it when you get started with life, where you're stepping out of the house and you come back and you barely have 2 hours in hand? Okay. So that way you can pick and choose of the self-care activities that you're doing now in order to maintain that. So I hope I've answered that question.
Can you suggest any particular diet? So we have another session this Saturday, specifically talking about the nutritional diet that you can follow when you stay at home and not overeat and all that. Again, after this session, I will post the details about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are you doing to manage the stress with all this disruption?
I'm doing. I
you
try
said,
to maintain
getting back,
waking
doing
up
all your
and
face-to-face sessions. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So you were telling me, right, that you're doing everything, your face-to-face sessions online and all that. So that's again a huge change for you as well to adapt. So how are you doing? How are your clients doing? How are they coping up with this?
My clients are adapting, and so am I. So I'm slowly, like, I've been home for a week now, even before the lockdown started. So what I'm trying to do this week particularly is follow the wake up and sleep time, because I do not want to add stress to my body. And it is very important that I keep this routine, because the particular hours of sleep I get is going to improve my immunity when my stress is reduced. So I'm doing that. I'm doing mindfulness, and I'm doing a little bit of home workout. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. Yeah.
There's another question. When the total number of days of curfew gets higher every day, how do you keep spirits up and not lose the light at the end of the tunnel?
Okay. So this is also a form in which you're overthinking, right? At this point in time, we can't predict how long we will be enforced to carry out, the government will be enforced to extend this lockdown period. So remembering that humans have always encountered uncertainties, like even us in our everyday life, we've encountered uncertainties and we've lived through it. We've grown resilient with it, right? So just uh, purposely reminding yourself, intentionally reminding yourself of this message, that we have the capacity to deal with uncertainty, and that we are all together. That can be quite empowering. That this is a communal uncertainty, and it's basically, as a community, it's quite traumatizing for human beings at this point. So remembering that all of us are having a collective experience, and that we have the capacity to take on the uncertainty that it brings about can be helpful. But having said that, it's very normal for you to feel high one day and for you to feel very, very low the next day. And try not to judge yourself about this, because it is a very human experience. Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing.
Okay.
So, are there any more questions from you guys? Or do you have anything else to say in general for everyone? So, one main question is for the people who are older.
Right.
So they panic a lot because they know they're at, an extreme risk factor with all this. So is there something that younger generations or, mid-age people of mid-age can support them or say something to them to make them feel okay? Even though they stay at home the whole time, the panic is a bit more than others, and it makes everyone, in a stressful situation. So is there something we can do for them? Any assurance that we can just give them, saying that, it's going to be fine or something like that?
Maybe connecting with them virtually, or by engaging them in distraction activities, right? So if you're watching a TV show, maybe engage them in at that time, so their mind is off that worrying loop. Okay, they might not be actively able to do some physical exercise or have a hobby or interest that they want. I don't want to sound like I'm generalizing, but if they need some kind of support, how can you play a role is by introducing them and doing a shared activity with them on a daily basis. Okay, so when their mind is distracted and when they are also experiencing positive emotions, okay, it can be playing a game of cards or carom board, whatever it is. Okay, so when they're doing this, they are going to also feel better internally, and even for that brief period of time, if they are not able to worry, that would be helpful for them. And we can't think about extinguishing that anxiety and panic that they're experiencing, but all we can offer is that little stress-free time by consciously connecting with them.
Okay.
Okay. Was that helpful?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So,
Are there any more questions? I don't see anyone posting anything else.
okay.
Is there anything you want to say, Anitha?
I think the other day I
there's one
saw this
question.
movie, Contagion. It's a which is on the same topic. Sorry, the question went away.
No, the other day I
Okay.
saw this movie,
This movie,
Contagion. It's a good
Contagion.
movie. I watched it to be informed, but ended up feeling super panicky. Now I find myself wanting to watch The Host,
Okay.
which is on the same topic. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
that movie is about all this virus and all that. Yeah.
Okay. So when we are feeling anxious, right? I know that I've used the word anxious a lot in today's interaction, but that's a collective emotion that we're feeling. So what we can end up doing is overthinking, over consuming information on this topic. When we are over consuming information on this topic, we feel like we're being productive and we can take control of the situation. Okay, our brain perceives it in such a manner, and by observing what is it that you're doing, right? By observing, am I continuously watching variants of information related to this COVID-19? Am I going and reading up about viruses, history about it, about pandemics, what it's resulted in? Okay, in different forms, not exactly the number of people who've been admitted and who have recovered, right? So by noticing this, you can acknowledge that your anxiety is taking a form by overconsumption of information. And by consciously reminding yourself that you are on this loop and it is not being helpful. After you engage in an activity, by sitting with yourself and reflecting, how did this make me feel? You know, I got movement today and I played some music and I danced and I felt good. So you're internalizing the experience. Same way, when you're watching this movie and if you feel more anxious and panicky after that, by internalizing that, so that you won't really go and engage in watching The Host, right? Because you're already creating a negative association with this. So there are two things you can do. One is by telling yourself that, you know, you're engaging in this process of overconsumption of news because of the anxiety that is present. And the second one is by internalizing the experience of the activities that you're engaging in, so that you can engage in activities that make you feel pleasant emotions. Yeah.
Okay. Well
Okay.
said.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think we've
Yeah,
got
we
enough
pretty much.
questions for today.
Yes.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Anita. Thank you for your
Yeah.
time. And it
Thank
was
you.
really useful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, One Life NGO, for having this wonderful initiative at a very apt time, and inviting me and giving me this platform to share a few little knowledge that I have for people to be helpful. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anita.
Yeah.
So if there's any questions that you guys want to ask, you can always like DM her or me as well. So I will just put you through.
Yeah.
Okay? So
Thank you,
thank you.
guys.
Okay. Bye bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.